Hey guys, this is Sam. I'm here with Elliot. We just wanted to do a quick explanation of our world's partner hang robots. So from the beginning of the season, we knew we wanted to do a partner hang, but we wanted it to be actually competitive and not just like totally nerf the entire robot by implementing it. So we wanted to document what we did. So we'll start with the 15. So it's basically kind of your meta less than 6-inch robot with a couple unique features. So we've got our wings, which are low to the ground that you can activate, Elliot. And then we've got a scraper mechanism that we designed. So this was part of our match loading strategy for, so in Vex U, you can only match load from the tiles in the corner. And we wanted a way to very quickly descore and kind of bowl like high school teams were able to do. We didn't really practice this enough at Worlds, so we didn't use it that much, but in theory, it would have been a pretty cool way to match load very quickly in driver control. So the next thing is we've just got a intake with two motors, two 11-watt motors. And then we've got 3D printed sleds on the front and the back, which the back ones are implemented with the wings, but the front ones have wheels on them, which we thought really helped push it over the barrier with like almost no power. We have an 8-motor drive. It's 600 direct. And then we have these 2-inch flex wheels with 3D printed hubs. These just really helped us get over the barrier, and we had screws all inside of it, which made them pretty stable, which again really helped with going over the barrier. We had this distance sensor, which helped us detect an auton, whether we had a ball inside the intake. And then another, I guess, final thing is that we have these standoffs, which are kind of slightly offset, and this kind of helped with positioning the tri-ball. So when we intake it, it's never going to be perfectly flat, because we had an instance where if the ball was perfectly flat, then it would get caught against this metal here, which is very bent. But you get the picture. And so the intake, or the ball would never get stuck in the intake here. So yeah, that's about it with the 15-inch. We designed it really early on in the season, about halfway through the season, because we knew we wanted to do a partner hang in the long run, but we didn't have time before the February Purdue competition to actually finish that. But we started with this early to practice driving and get good at it before Worlds. So yeah. So with the 24-inch, you probably wouldn't expect it to be a partner hang robot if you looked at it for the first time ever. So that was one of the core philosophies we had going into this design. We wanted it to be seamless with the build of the robot, and not kind of the stereotypical image you think of when you think of a partner hang robot, like some giant, tray or robot carrier. So I'll just start with the basic features. So it was actually a 10-motor drivetrain. We've got these 3D printed motor mounts, which are which secure the motors using these zip ties and bands. This worked pretty well. I've used bands for a long time and haven't had any problems with them. We used custom 3D printed gears on all of the drivetrain. This is a 17 tooth gear to 23, I believe, which is about 485 RPM. I think, I might be misremembering that. We had these 3D printed sort of, I'd call them sleds, but they're kind of just coasters, or not coasters. You get the picture. But they really help with going over the barrier smoothly, and also you're not gonna chip your gears. So yeah, that's about the drivetrain. The next thing is our wings, which have pretty suspicious geometry. So as I was saying, the wing geometry is a little sus, but it got the job done for us. The reason we did this is Well, actually, I'll go over that a little bit later. So, let's see. I guess we could just go ahead and actually, I'll talk about the intake first. So, it's a 1200 RPM intake, and this had to be very compact for several reasons, which I'll have to get into later. But we have these 3D printed gears. It's just a 2-to-1 ratio, and a high strength axle going across the front for support. But yeah, so you can go ahead and deploy the lift. So this was probably our key feature for the robot, at least for the high hang, was the lift. So it's a technically a one-stage deploy with this one piston down here, cylinder that just moves this. This was added on very last second, like the day before Worlds, and there was basically nowhere to put this. We spent hours and hours trying to figure out a place to put this, but yeah, this is like the only solution. That's why it's like there's like standoffs on it. It just barely avoids the PTO and doesn't interfere with the 15-inch climbing up on top of it, which we'll get into. But yeah, so I'll start with the PTO. The PTO basically is powered off of this one cylinder here, and the cylinder is actually press fit into this 3D printed part that we made, and so it can slide back and forth freely. That way we can power both sides of the PTO with the same piston. So we have these PTO slider pieces, which are screwed into 36 tooth gears with the teeth shaven off of them. The reason we shaved the teeth off was because the motors on the drivetrain are extremely close to the PTO. So we had very, very tight spacing here. But the high strength gear was also just used for support because we are carrying about 31 pounds respectively force. So this had to be insanely strong. We had to use we used the 36 tooth gears for their metal inserts and continued with this high strength hole all the way through the 3D printed part. So there was a lot of surface area here. This is never gonna break. Yeah, so when the piston was activated, which you can do right now, it slides into place, and these crown gears engage in each other, and basically engage in these 3D printed 21 tooth gears. So these 21 tooth gears are free spinning on this axle. So basically, even though this is engaged constantly with the drivetrain, it's not being powered by the shaft until the PTO engages. So that's how the PTO works. Then we have these ratchets, which had to be very strong to hold the 31 pounds of force. So it's 24 tooth gears with these half-cut C-channels. And yeah, so the next thing is the, I guess we'll just get on to the loading the robot onto the 24. So essentially, the 15 has to first push up the intake, which can now, because the lift is deployed, fully go all the way into the back of the robot. The intake had to be super, super compact so that it could fit within these super tight boundaries here. Because we had a few constraints, we had to clear a path for the string to have a lot of wiggle room here. And then we had, of course, nothing to be poking up to obstrude the path of the 15-inch. And then also, we could not hit these gears. So this intake had to be very, very compact. So that's part of the reason for the design here. This is kind of the magic that makes this all work. So Elliot will demonstrate that. Let me get the lock ready, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, so I just pressed one button and timed it right as he went up. But basically, we use these sort of arms here to grab and latch onto the 15 inches intake. I know a lot of people probably thought that we grab it from the wings, because the wings also go up whenever we climb up onto it, or we have some sort of system underneath, but we don't. It grabs it by the intake, and this allows it to be really versatile. And even though we obviously aren't competing in high school, the 24 is actually fully high school legal, which we didn't do on purpose, but it's just a fun fact. And it would work with a bunch of different less than 6 inch robots that compete in high school, because it's a very versatile grab system. So we were able to high hang with UCF's 15 and 24, which I can insert videos of.
We haven't even done this yet. I can't get under it. Oh.
Outtake?
Oh yeah.
You're trying it with the other UCF?
Nah, you gotta get inside our sleds, yeah, like that.
Might just have to hit him. Oh. It's too heavy, it can't pull up. Right.
Wait.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got him! Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, what the That's the winding on the bar.
That's UCF plus. Oh,
You gotta go up to the
UCF
line.
trying
You
to
gotta go up
climb
to the
the
line.
Yes.
Because I have to grab your
okay,
intake.
that's
He grabs it with these. Okay. Probably gotta lower it in too. Yeah. It's full speed.
Go.
Oh.
Hold it!
Hold on. Let him scoop.
Hold on, wait. No. I think it's got locked in on the intake.
Yeah, it's too heavy because of the leverage.
I was about to say, you're locked in on the intake.
Oh!
What's up?
Oh, look at the pole.
That's not jank at all.
Okay, so next I'll go on to the claw, and then we'll let it partner hang. So the claw was probably, I want to say, the most difficult part of this robot. The reason being that, well, in VexU, the yellow caps were not removed in the mid-season update. So you have to actually grab the pole. So this was extremely difficult, and compounded on the difficulty of hanging with a partner, obviously. And so we went through probably over 10 different variants of this claw in 2 weeks leading up until Worlds. But we ended up with this passive system, which basically just makes the pole push these out of the way, and then the pole goes through here. So I can demonstrate that. It's because of the... Yeah, you can just drive back. So it grabs it pretty well. It worked pretty consistently in all of our matches. We used Omni Wheel tires as the grip. We found this was the best source of grip that Vex Parts could offer. We probably could have done some custom stuff for that, but we really didn't have time nor the experience of it. So we just decided to do that. And we eventually settled with this overly beefy claw design, which has 2 layers of vertical C-channels. And yeah, and it finally ended up supporting the weight that we needed to carry the partner. So now all we do is just engage the PTO. And then drive forward. The PTO is not engaged. Yeah, there you go. Good luck on high stakes, guys.